I just had a good third eye live one. Hopefully it's not inappropriate. I have a bad track record. Oh, we'll do a good one also. Hey, Jayme.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
All right. I want to make sure that you have, do you have something to share? Are you sharing
I'm sharing a PowerPoint. Yep.
let me give you.
Yeah, I've never done this before. Teach me.
Okay, so now you should have access to, so you'll at the bottom, like where you see participants in chat, you'll hit share screen and then something on your computer will come up that you'll be able to select everything that you, anything you have open.
Okay,
And then
perfect. I'm gonna go grab another water real quick. I'll be right back.
yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes, then start the music.
Okay. I don't know if they'll be able to make it, but I forwarded the meeting invite to Keller Williams' friend out in Denver.
Oh, cool.
So if you see Kevin and Aurelia Grinstead pop on and you're like, wait a second.
Well, we record these, so if for some reason he isn't able to jump on, you can send it to him.
I know, that's what I was planning to do, was just send it along, and then they asked for it again and I was like, okay, I'll send it to you so you can do it live.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to go ahead and test the share screen?
Sure. Can you see it?
I can, yeah.
Okay. And then I can go to okay. So let's see. It popped up on my third screen now.
So if you, the way sometimes that PowerPoint does this is like you either can't see your next slides or sometimes you can't, like you just said, it moved to your third screen. So if you want to exit out of whatever's in your third screen and just do it like this, like people will be able to see the tabs on the side, but it's not the end of the world, I guess.
Okay. Well,
As long as you can see what you're talking about, that's what we want to make sure that nothing is going to mess you up.
okay. It feels like everything's frozen right now.
Are you able to see your PowerPoint?
Sorry, look, everything just froze for a minute. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you
Oh,
see me or your PowerPoint?
I see my screen is frozen. Okay, now I can see you again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see what you have to click through for your PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna play a song and let the people in the waiting room in then.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Could you whisper in my ear the things you wanna feel? I'll give you anything to feel it coming. Do you wake up on your own? I wonder where you are and live with all your faults. I wanna wake up where you are. I won't say anything at all. So why don't you smile? Yeah, we're gonna let it slide. Don't you love the life you kill? The priest is on the phone. Your father hit the wall. Your mom disowned you. Don't suppose I'll ever know. So means to be a man. Something I can exchange. I live around here. I wanna wake up where you are. I won't say anything at all. So why don't you slide? Slide. And I'll do anything you ever do to be complete. Little pieces, and nothing to fall. Put your arms around me. What you feel is what you are beautiful. Oh, you wanna get married? Run away.
Hi, everyone. Good morning and happy Thursday. Welcome to our February Reverse Book Club. We are joined today by Jayme Kostelnik, who is going to go over the book Immunity to Change. This is a great book as we are still early in the new year and thinking about ways to better ourselves, better our businesses, and unlock that potential inside all of us. So without further ado, Jayme, I'm going to toss it over to you and everyone enjoy.
Thanks, Julia. All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming today. I'm excited. This is my first ever presentation for the brokerage, and I'm excited to be talking you through a book that I'm just kind of finishing right now. So I'm still in the process of kind of implementing it myself, and so I feel like there's kind of no better way of really embedding the ideas in my own brain than to go ahead and try to bring them to you as well. So I look forward to kind of your thoughts and your feedback along the way too. It's a book that I came across through actually a podcast I was listening to. There were a couple of thought leaders who were they're psychologists, and they were just talking about different people who have inspired them recently. And Brene Brown said, "Oh, Lisa Leahy, she walked me through this immunity to change process, and it knocked my socks off." And so I was like, oh, that's curious, for her to feel like it was this interesting new way of approaching something. I definitely wanted to dig into it a little bit more. So, why you should stick around today. I think what the book helps us understand is that despite our best efforts, we could be the ones holding ourselves back from changing. And this goes for personal and professional goals that we may have. And it helps to unpack a little bit more about why or the rationale for what we could be doing that's getting in the way. And we probably don't even know that it's there. So that's really kind of like the curveball of the book that takes it further down the path than other kind of like habit related books or hacks. It helps us to get beyond what could potentially be just a behavioral change to something that's a little bit more deeply rooted. So my hope for the conversation today is that you understand this new model for change, and it's despite being this like very thick book, it's a 4-column Excel document essentially. So it's super simple to remember and even just like scratch on a notebook yourself. That's what I did when I first went through it. I hope you can also appreciate that I'm going to walk through my own example of a change that I am trying to make, or a goal that I have for myself. And it has led me to a pretty vulnerable place. And I'm going to share that with you. So please give me some grace, along with other teammates, family members, friends, anyone else that you're really kind of coming in contact with in your life that may be trying to work toward a goal and it's not going as well as they want it to, or it's going more slowly than you think it should. That type of situation, that is also a big kind of learning that I've had from the book. So the agenda, really quickly, I think it's going to be kind of like a half an hour type conversation. I just wanted to highlight some of the key concepts. It's a pretty deep and scientific book, and I don't feel like you need to know all of the way the sausage is made, so to speak, in order to understand this process map. So I just want to kind of very quickly go over that part, and then share the immunity to change process map itself, and then walk through 2 examples, one that they give, and then my own, before we kind of break off and go our separate ways for the day. So the first thing I just want to acknowledge that we all know is that change is really hard. The current literature tells us that you're more likely to change in any aspect of your life if it can hit some of these qualities. Urgency, like your life's on the line, so you need to do something. If there's clarity in what actually needs to happen to get from where you are to where you need to be, and if incentives are aligned with that goal or change as well. So when you think of urgency, they gave this example in the book of a heart patient study that recently was undergone with 7 patients. And they essentially said, due to the condition of your heart, you really need to make significant lifestyle changes in regards to your, sleeping, eating, drinking, lifestyle types of habits. And wouldn't you know what, only 1 in 7 were actually able to make the changes needed. And it's this interesting kind of starter story in the book, because I think it leads us to a place of being able to say, well, did the other 6 people not care about living? I mean, that's pretty dramatic, right? Like, do they care about their family less? Like, what is getting in the way? And we all know that like those things aren't the reasons. Or if you're trying to lose weight or, stop a bad habit or something, like it's not because you don't want it. It could be because there's something deeper down inside that's happening that you just aren't aware of yet. And this process helps to unpack that. So the single biggest failure of leadership is to treat adaptive challenges like technical problems. And so this can go for leadership at any level, whether it's like self-leadership and or of your family or your work, your team, your colleagues. And I think that that's a nice, powerful quote to get us into the differences between adaptive challenges and technical problems, because that's where the rubber meets the road in this book. In treating things that are that are not technical problems, but treating them as such. So what's the distinction? So the distinction between technical and adaptive are laid out on this slide here. So when you think about a technical problem, you're thinking in terms of something that already has a solution that's already known. It can be solved by an expert, or by a tested procedure, norm, system, something along those lines. So it's not necessarily simple or easy. It could be something like landing a plane or the doctor removing your wisdom teeth. But there's a process in place, and it's documented, and you know how to get from point A to point B. And so there you go. An adaptive problem is one where there's not necessarily a known solution, like a correct solution. So, or it's a solution that's outside of someone's understanding of how to approach a problem. And also it is going to need to be addressed beyond the technical level to something deeper in regards to your personal beliefs, priorities, habits, and loyalties. So an example here, I gave the one about the heart patient. It's clearly not a technical issue, or 7 out of 7 of those heart patients would have cleaned up their diet, exercised daily, and did anything else they needed to do to make sure that they were going to live as long as possible. There's something underlying there. The other example that the authors gave was their mother was starting to have some pretty bad vision. And they said, that the technical solution for this would be snatch the keys. But what is that going to do to her? I mean, there's an emotional level that comes with removing her driving privileges, and it could send her into, a depression or all of those other things. So it's not as cut and dry, I suppose, as, okay, here's the problem, here's the solution there. Let's get over the hump with this challenge and let's keep going. So the gist is that, most problems are probably both, and maybe they can be adaptive, and then you can exhibit some technical types of steps once you've identified the kind of root of it to push it forward in little micro measurements from there. But you just can't tackle a change on a behavioral level. And it's those emotional factors that they're going to get in the way of making it stick long term. That's why it's 21 days after the New Year's, everyone's back out of the gym, that kind of thing. So we need to go about the work to figure out how to uncover it. And that's what this book and this model helps us do. So the immunity change, what is it? Essentially, it's just a process map. Like I said, a 4-column map. They also call it an X-ray or diagnostic tool that helps you to see an issue that you're having. So then once you've identified what it is, then you can more appropriately work to overturn your immunity. So they designate it with the immunity language as well, because we all know your immune system as being something that's a critical protection system for your body. And in this case, this immunity to change is just a nod to the idea that, perhaps your immune system is the one that's blocking you. Your natural immune system is kind of blocking you from, it's not serving you anymore in the way that it needs to, yet it doesn't know exactly where to go from here because it's so, it's been a really long time in building itself. All right, so the immunity to change process map, 4 columns, super easy. Improvement goal. The next column is what are you doing or not doing to help you achieve that goal. The next one is what are your hidden or competing goals or commitments, which is where things I think get really interesting. And then the last column being what are the big assumptions that you're acting on based on those hidden or competing goals. So in the process map, we start out, and I'm going to go through as the next several slides they're going to look very similar, but they're going to build on each other. So for each of these 4 columns, I'm going to go through kind of a description of what the column is and how you would potentially build it for yourself in any type of personal or work-related scenario. And then I'll go through an example of a guy I named Mark, and then I'll go through my own example. So what is your top priority improvement goal? So the guidelines for this are that whatever you state here, this kind of like one sentence or phrase, shouldn't be an outcome or a result, because when you think about those, that usually like involves a collective amount of people kind of working towards something, and it's not really trying to isolate a self-improvement that you could be making. Like I said, it's implicating you as being the one who needs to make the change. It's true for you, like it is a goal that you want to achieve, and you feel like sometimes the goals can be founded in feedback that we're given from a boss, from a colleague, from a partner. It could be, something that you just want to achieve because you want to achieve it, but it needs to be true for you. It should be stated in affirmatively. So not, I want to stop doing X. And then just making sure that in addition to being true for you, that it's really important to you too, because you're not going to have the mental and physical capacity to work toward a really important goal if it's someone else's goal and not your own. So when we talk about made up Mark here, his top priority improvement goal is to be a more collaborative leader who taps into the collective wisdom of himself and his team. So that next part down at the bottom that I put in italics is kind of like the why it's important to him part. In the book, they have you rate how important the goal is to you from like 1 to 5. And so this example, he was like, this is a 5. This is mega important. I need help to become a more collaborative leader. So he said it's important because we will fail if I continue to drive people the way I am. And if they feel more ownership, then we'll all benefit. Switching gears to my immunity to change process map, my top priority improvement goal for myself is to leverage Keller Williams models and systems to their fullest potential, specifically database management through command. And as someone who has been an agent for a little over 2 years now, it's really hard for me to say, especially, seeing Art probably has a mega database, just to be able to say, like, I don't have one built yet. And I recognize that it's my success depends on it. And I'm nearing my ceiling of achievement without this leverage. And as a director of growth for our team, I need to be supporting agents in this way because it's critical to their success as well. And so this is a hugely priority or a hugely important improvement goal for me. And one that I'm now obviously throwing out into the world for everyone to know about. The next phase of the process map is outlining what are you doing or not doing that works against your goal. So these would be examples of behaviors or self-talk and things that get in the way or work against your goal. So it's not the why are you doing them, but it's just the what you're doing. So in the example of Mark, he says, I want to be this more collaborative leader, but I'm coming to the table with predetermined definitions of the problem and solutions. I'm always framing and writing the meeting agendas. I'm speaking more than others. I take charge and I run every meeting, and I'm not asking for help when I need it. So yeah, that all sounds like things that you're doing that make you feel pretty disconnected and not collaborative. So for me, I want to start leveraging these Keller Williams systems. I mean, I've been in Bold, I come to the sales meetings, I sit in trainings, that kind of thing, but I don't start my day working on my business. I start it in my business, serving my clients. And I recognize that that's probably something where I need to be time blocking in a different way. I also spread myself way too thin in regards to my commitments, both personally and professionally. I say yes to helping others when I need to prioritize myself and my business. I don't turn learnings into action sometimes. And that like learning for learning, that's not what I should be doing. I have a hard time delegating for fear of the outcome. And that is me not leading by example. And the leading by example is really important because, how now that I'm in this role with the Golden Group, we're all taking this step to get our databases built and operating currently, and I need to, be walking the walk. So at this point in the model where you have the goals and the behaviors, this is usually where people jump into fix-it mode. So, I know what I need to do. I know what I'm doing wrong right now, or I know what I want to do. I know what I'm doing wrong right now. I just should run the other way. And that's where this model differs, because that type of thinking is treating our goal or our challenge as a technical problem rather than an adaptive one that we need to investigate a little bit more. Because in reality, you're probably not just doing the behaviors for their own sake. There's probably some kind of hidden goal that you're unaware of that that has you doing these behaviors, or has you resisting your goals by doing these behaviors. And so we're here to kind of figure out why. And the why is because the same behaviors, in fact, can help or hurt you depending on what your goal is. So as we go through the model, we'll see that the behaviors that I'm doing or that Mark is doing right now, they have helped me get to where I am. But now that my goal is different, they're not helpful anymore. Some of the hidden goals that we have, I think this part's really interesting. I hope you can kind of see it on the screen. I know it's small. This is like where the work can get pretty vulnerable, and hidden goals range from things like, I don't want to feel stupid, to not wanting to feel vulnerable and open to rejection. I don't want to feel weak. I don't want to fail and look inadequate. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be a loser. You know, those are crazy important things for you to be able to know that is down there in your subconscious, and potentially a reason you are actively resisting a goal that on the conscious level you have. So the third column of the map is about unearthing those hidden or competing goals. So you start out with what they call kind of the worry box at the top of it. And in the worry box, you imagine doing the opposite of the behaviors that you've been doing in column 2. You know, what are you thinking or feeling? What concerns or doubts is this bringing up? And the things that you would be looking to learn here about yourself would be like, you know, I'll look like a slacker, I'll be replaceable, or I'll look stupid. And it's okay to feel like that, you know. All of these types of examples are kind of summarized in what they call the SCARF model. That is another, it's not part of the book, it's just something that they reference, but they all kind of ladder up to one of these like universally threatening or rewarding territories. So, you know, the reason you're acting in certain ways is probably because your status, you either want to maintain it or don't want to compromise it. Certainty, they help you feel good about predicting where we're headed in the future. Autonomy and freedom, relatedness to other people, and fairness in how you're being treated as well. So back to Mark's process map, we're looking in column 3 now. And this is where the things that we're going to put here will help to make sense of what he's doing or not doing in column 2. So if we focus on that blue box at the right, these are not meant to feel noble, but they are meant to be self-protective. And this is really kind of your immune system at work. So Mark says, my fears are, you know, if I'm not doing all of these actions in column 2, if I'm not taking charge, if I'm not the one writing the agenda, if I'm not speaking more, like I'm going to look and feel weak and soft, and I'm going to lose my value proposition as a leader. And that means that I have these hidden commitments of not appearing weak or feeling weak, of being committed to being hugely important and value adding, and to being a hero, which, like, wow, that's tough to say, like, you want to be a hero, yet also you want to be this collaborative leader. And like, it's a stalemate, you know, where do we go from here? It's probably why anything that you've been trying to do to work toward being a more collaborative leader hasn't been working. So for me, here I go. I do all of these things. I spread myself too thin. I don't delegate. I service my clients. I say yes to helping people. But it's because if I don't do those things and I dive deeper into models and systems, it's going to make me feel more basic and robotic and replaceable. That's what I realized. Because I'll feel less in control and more insincere. I know that about, I think it was interesting for me to kind of get to a place where I could acknowledge this because of my background, which you guys wouldn't know. But I have spent, before advertising, the last 14 years, or I'm sorry, before real estate, the last 14 years in advertising. And I was a director of client services. So my whole world was based around, my one-to-one interactions with clients and making sure that they were feeling heard and that we were servicing their accounts appropriately. And when it came to delivering on the work for them, the goal of advertising and marketing is to, kind of find that unique thing that your brand can stand for that no one else can, and to see things that others can't. And there's like a kind of a leadership role there and a uniqueness that if I go into a model or system-based day-to-day, I feel like I'm going to lose. And so that's kind of what's in my worry box. Ooh. Sorry, I don't know what just happened. Okay, so that means my hidden commitments are around being strategic and seeing things others can't, which, if you think about, I know that my goal is important to dive into command because of all of the Keller Williams, research that I've read about how amazingly large you can build your business because of it. Yet, I feel like because it's so well known, then it's something that I'm not unearthing myself. So I'm struggling with that. I'm committed to being a leader and paving my own path. So again, this is so tried and true. So that goes against my inclination there. I'm committed to genuine commitment or communication. And so I worry that the content that I'm going to put out is not going to feel authentically me. I'm committed to being a perfectionist. And so as I get everything started, I recognize that I'm going to need to not hold my threshold quite as high. And I'm going to need to be in that learning and growing mindset. And I'm committed to feeling valued. And if I leverage out and automate a lot of the work, then where does it leave me? So it kind of, some of this feels even just a little bit silly to say out loud, but it's like, it took me going through this process to be able to understand why I've struggled so much to keep my commitment to myself to growing a database in command. And it's because my whole past career so far has been focused on trying to create a unique path for myself and my brands to succeed. And maybe that's not how I need to succeed now, or not, that's not what will help me to succeed now. So I just took my improvement goal and my competing goals and I put them side by side here. And that's to be able to show you the tension that I just described. So my immune system helped me to, forge my own path and to, be genuine in my communications and like helps me to be a perfectionist. And so there's tension between where I'm going and where I came from. And that immune system that helps me get here, it's misreading the new challenge that I have, this new improvement goal, and it's holding me back. So that's kind of the essence of this immunity to change map. So the last column is what we call the big assumptions. So when you think about big assumptions, these are the lenses through which you see the world and how we will look to change, like the levers for change as we would move forward. So the guidelines here, it makes your hidden goals necessary. It connects back to your fears. It's potentially coming to you with some bad conclusions about how you need to be acting. It's limiting your world for sure. And these can feel real and powerful, even if we know that they're wrong. So let me go through some examples of these. So for Mark, everything column 1 through 3 you've already seen. So if we just focus on column 4, his big assumptions are, if I look weak, people won't follow me in my leadership. I assume people want a leader who has all the answers. If I am not special, I am replaceable. I assume people don't want to take responsibility in any way. Like, those are some big, heavy assumptions, and valuable kind of reasons why he is doing or not doing everything in column 2. So for me, again, here's my kind of final map. My big assumptions, you've seen everything columns 1 through 3 again. My big assumptions in column 4 are models and systems will compromise my output, basically my creativity. I need to be different to win. If I'm following routines, I won't be viewed as a leader. I'll be a follower. And I'll lose my schedule flexibility. Let's see. So now what? Where do we go from here? Essentially, now that we've gone through the map for Mark and for me, essentially what we're getting at next is area of, like, if these assumptions aren't true anymore, like, where does that leave us? And what if they're not actually a threat to our identities? So I'm going to go back to my immunity to change process map here for a minute. And I'm just curious if you guys have any, like, thoughts or takeaways on the process in general, or if you're like, well, this particular, section of it is extra interesting to me.
I think the idea with the hidden fears, the hidden goals, hidden and competing goals, goes in a sense to our subconscious, like, what are we deep down inside thinking?
Right.
What is really holding us back? Like, something on the surface may look like it's holding us back, but that's not. Like, any with people, period. You look at a situation on the surface and say, well, that doesn't make sense. That's not wise to do that. But if you talk to them and find out more about them, there's more to it behind it, that why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to them. And you find out it's not that they're not smart or something. It's just something more deep, subconscious, maybe a childhood trauma or something they experienced in life that's holding them back.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I think it helps me to recognize that it's really easy to have, like, a surface level, well, I'm not doing it because I don't have time, or like I'm too busy, or whatever 1,000 excuses people may have, but really that's probably not it. So it's about digging a little deeper. Thanks for sharing.
Sure. Just keep asking yourself why.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, like, this has me personally thinking about family members of mine who are desperately trying to quit smoking, lifelong smokers, and continue to avoid the doctor, continue to make excuses for why they can't start, things like that my natural reaction would be to feel frustrated and to say, well, they must not care about me, like, why, this is gonna kill them. I can't believe that I don't mean more to you than this, and that's what I meant by, at the beginning, giving people the grace to recognize, like, that's probably not it. There's something much deeper going on inside them that maybe even we can help to unpack so that they can make progress on it. Any other ahas here before I keep going? I just have a couple more slides.
I think it just goes into like the basics. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Just with everything, or with everyone as they get into real estate or sales in general, is just the fear of limiting beliefs. If you've never done anything before, or this is how it's always been done, or this is what I've experienced my whole life. My family's never, made more than this, or I've never seen a life that I don't feel like I'm capable of doing. It's a hard thing when your whole life you've seen this one thing, and then to shift your whole entire belief system to thinking like, oh, I'm capable of way more. It's a hard thing, like as a team leader or like as we grow teams or anything, like I think we see the best in all of our people that work for us, and it's, we think that they're capable of way more than they're even, seeing that they're capable of, and it's just an internal fear of success, or an internal fear of failure, or whichever way it is, because it's like, hey, if I leave my salary job, or my consistent paycheck, and have to rely on myself, to actually, pay my rent, that's a scary thing for a lot of people. So I don't know. I think it is hard for everyone. I think that's one of the biggest things that we all try to overcome in this crazy world of real estate.
Hey, I didn't even know that you were here. I didn't have
Oh, sorry.
List of people. I was like, wait, who's talking? Yeah, I appreciate that you said that, because I think too, when we go to, I was trying to think about the same type of goal for our team, even getting everyone into the database. Everyone, we're actively kind of doing that with team members right now. And it sounds silly, but everyone probably has a different reason or competing goal. Some of them maybe, I've just never been in a tech related job. I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's fear of feeling dumb. Or others may be like fear of feeling just insignificant, or a million of other things that that you could potentially be feeling in this moment, beyond just my fear of having gone my whole career of trying to stand out to get somewhere in life, and then feeling like maybe I just need to go this other way that's tried and true to actually stand out and break through a ceiling of achievement that I'm at right now. So it was very interesting for me to uncover this about myself. Okay, so back to the now what. So this is where the follow-up work comes into play, and this is just the final slide I have on this. The idea is that you just start to pay attention. There's the immunity to change map obviously lays out in great detail how you get to what your immunities are and your big assumptions. Now you need to take one or two of those big assumptions and start testing whether they're actually true, because that's where you can both in action and psychologically start to recognize and connect the fact that maybe it's not something I should be assuming anymore. Maybe that's not true of my life anymore. So, the idea is to observe your big assumptions and to stay alert to anything that you come across that is counter to it. So in my example specifically, to go back to mine, if I am thinking about testing this idea of will the models and systems compromise my output, I am fiercely curious right now about the command training that our regional tech trainer is going to have for the brokerage in next week or the week after, because it looks like it's going to really be focused on tips and tricks of using command. So knowing that I came from a place of a high creativity type of environment, I think the way I get comfortable with using models and systems is to figure out how to do it like even better and more uniquely than everyone else. Like that's the spin that my brain needs to take on it. And I also feel like, you know, if I'm if I'm following routines and I won't be viewed as a leader, I am actively taking a group of agents on our team through this with me as well too, because while I'm personally struggling with getting on board with command, I'm doing it myself right now. And to ensure that I can continue to provide leadership to our team, and I'm helping others do it right now as well too. So I'm actively trying to work against my big assumptions and kind of prove them wrong. The next thing is, be aware of what yours could be, and, be paying attention to those kind of like micro moments on when you can be testing them. The next thing would be creating a biography. Like where's the story founded? Like Art, to your point, maybe it's a childhood trauma. I certainly know there are things in my adult life that I run the other way than my parents because of things that happened in my childhood. Not bad things, just philosophically decisions that they made that I don't agree with, that kind of thing. So, as someone who came from this creative advertising world, I feel like, I have always been trying to make sure that I know where I'm going and what is the next step, and how do I be even more unique, and like this kind of one-upping, like never satisfied in being able to just know that what we're get really deep and good in a singular thing like this, always trying to pivot to something new. So that's part of kind of my biography. And then, design a test for your assumptions. Choose one and figure out how you can create a test to actively try to negate it, and document and examine the results, and then, keep testing, because it takes a while to, get out of these big assumptions and to shift them. But essentially, that is the necessary work. It's the identifying them, and then it's the testing and learning to mentally prove them wrong that will help you to get to that big improvement goal that you so desperately want to, that you're not able to achieve yet as is. Any questions? That's all I've got.
Great job. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you,
Right.
Jayme. Thank you, everyone,
for coming,
joining
everybody.
today. And if anyone has any questions, we will, when we email out the recording for this, we'll put Jayme's contact info in there so that you can connect with her. If you have any follow-up or want to discuss this book a little bit further. Jayme, thank you so much. This was fantastic. Everyone have a great rest of your day.
Well, thanks, Jayme.
Thanks guys. Thanks for coming.